India and China, once strong allies and economic partners, now find themselves locked in a different kind of war. It's not a battle fought on the traditional battlefield, but rather a war fought on economic grounds. India has emerged as a formidable powerhouse in Asia, driven by its determination to counter China's aggression. New Delhi has strategically positioned itself as a viable alternative for companies that have grown weary of being mere pawns in China's global ambitions. The Chinese Communist Party's grand scheme to dominate the world has left many companies feeling used and manipulated. Sensing this opportunity, companies like Apple are already shifting their operations to India, preparing for a future beyond China's grip. India has taken proactive measures to counter China's growing influence, launching its own global projects that challenge China's Belt and Road Initiative. Prime Minister Modi, in a bid to curb China's influence through debt-trap diplomacy, has introduced India's own lending program for neighboring countries. By providing financial assistance without imposing crippling debts, India aims to prevent China from gaining undue control. Let's delve into how India has become China's greatest threat. The head of MI6, Britain's intelligence agency, raised concerns about China's use of debt traps to gain leverage over countries. Sri Lanka serves as a prime example, as it accepted loans totaling $45 billion from various nations, including over $8 billion from China. In exchange for a $1 billion credit line from India, Sri Lanka agreed to prioritize its relationship with India. Furthermore, India has extended its support to other countries as well. For instance, India has gifted a fast patrol vessel to Seychelles, strengthening their ties and countering China's growing influence in the region. Pakistan, facing dwindling foreign exchange reserves, is set to receive a $700 million loan from China. This move aims to ensure their financial stability but also highlights China's attempts to expand its sphere of influence. Now, let's rewind to the past, where an unexpected revelation awaits. It may surprise many to learn that historically, India and China were strong allies and economic partners. The Silk Road connected the cities of Xi'an in China and Pataliputra in India, facilitating trade and fostering cultural exchange. As the Chinese referred to it, played a pivotal role in the development of both Chinese and Indian civilizations. Even during modern history, despite facing the challenges of colonization, the leaders of both nations remained supportive of each other. India, under British rule, publicly expressed solidarity with China in its struggle against the Japanese in 1939. India assisted China against Japanese imperialism and Western influence, while China provided support to India's fight for independence from the British. Fast forward to 1947 when India achieved independence from the British Empire. 2 years later, in 1949, the People's Republic of China, PRC, emerged as the ruling power in China. The dynamics between the two nations, once marked by camaraderie, have since transformed into a complex and often tense relationship. This is the point where the relationship could have soured. Up until now, Indian leaders had maintained a friendly connection with the Republic of China, ROC. When Mao Zedong's People's Republic of China, PRC, came into power, the ROC fled mainland China and established its presence in Taiwan. Despite the change in leadership, good relations between India and China continued. In fact, India was among the first countries to recognize the PRC as the official government of China. Indian Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru even made history by becoming the first foreign leader to visit China in 1954. Nehru believed that India and China shared many similarities and, as newly independent nations, they couldn't trust the Western powers. They saw the need to depend on each other to develop their economies and improve the living conditions of their citizens. Together, they signed and advocated for the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence. However, this peace didn't last long. As soon as the Communist Party of China, CCP, came into power in 1950, they forcibly took over Tibet by deploying a large number of military personnel. This action angered the local Tibetan population who were deprived of their religious and cultural freedoms under the CCP's rule. In 1958, a rebellion broke out in Tibet against the CCP forces as Tibetans aimed to regain their land and oust the CCP. But Mao responded by sending even more forces to assert his dominance. The Tibetan rebels, lacking in numbers and experience, stood no chance against the People's Liberation Army, PLA. India closely monitored the situation in Tibet. It had always shared a friendly relationship with Tibet, engaging in economic trade and other exchanges. However, Indian leaders chose not to get directly involved in the fight, as they didn't want to spark a war with their neighbor. Mao, on the other hand, held unfounded suspicions that India was colluding with the United States and the Soviet Union to overthrow Chinese leadership. While India maintained a neutral stance and had friendly relations with both superpowers, it's highly improbable that they would conspire together against China.